Athletics Director, Dr. McKinley Boston. Dr. Boston.
Tyler, thanks, and certainly welcome all of you. I appreciate your coming by on short notice. I met with Coach Walker this morning after he returned from his visit and interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coach advised me that he was going to take the appointment with the Jaguars, and we shared pleasantries, and while it's certainly a disappointment, I understand that this is a wonderful opportunity for Coach Walker and his family, and so he'll make that move. Obviously, I've been thinking about next steps for the last several days, and met with Coach Martin this morning, and we also chatted and asked Coach Martin if he would take the position of interim head coach effective immediately, and that we would talk about going forward over the next several weeks, and I'm really looking forward to working with Coach Martin, obviously, as we go through the recruiting period. Some of you may not know Coach Martin's full resume, but obviously one of the things that you've heard many of us say this past year after we went through a 1-11 season, that we think that the missing piece to that 1-11 season was the absence of Coach Martin as our offensive coordinator. Coach, obviously coached at East Carolina for 12 years, head coach at Kent State, and a very successful turnaround. Was our offensive coordinator for a year. Last year, spent the year at Boston College. But Coach has agreed to be our interim head coach, and I'm very, very excited to work with him, to get to know him, and his family as well. So our new interim head coach, Doug Martin. Coach.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm really excited about being back in Las Cruces to begin with. I certainly didn't expect this to be the way I would return, but we wish Coach Walker the best. I think a lot of DeWayne Walker. I think he's a great football coach, and he's put a lot of really good pieces in place here as a foundation for this football program that'll be able to be built on in the future. When DeWayne called me about coming back to Las Cruces, that was a no-brainer decision for me for a couple of reasons. Number one, my family absolutely loved it here the year that we were here. Working with the players that we had here, Dr. Boston, this administration, there's a lot to sell here. And then the people of Las Cruces. I've never been anywhere where the people are more gracious and appreciative of a job that you've done. I mean, the people here were fantastic. So we're thrilled about coming back. This football program has unlimited potential, and this town can take ownership of this football program, and we can build something really special here. And I'm going to treat this time just like I am the head coach, and hope to be that. I think I'm just going to try to motivate the players as best I can to perform in the classroom, in the community, and of course on the football field, and look forward to the time ahead. But so grateful for Dr. Boston and the administration bringing me back here to begin with as offensive coordinator, and obviously for this opportunity also.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up to questions for Dr. Boston or Coach Martin.
Dr. Boston, Coach, you said Coach Martin goes interim coach. What does that mean? When are you going to evaluate? What's the time frame you're looking at here?
He's the interim coach until a permanent head coach is determined, and that process, while man hasn't been, should I call you wow? that process has not been finalized.
So will there be a search?
Have not decided that yet.
Dr. Boston, obviously with DeWayne, he's in the middle of a contract. It's just kind of rare to see a coach go from a head coaching job to an assistant in the NFL. Obviously the 4th year is a critical year. What was his reasoning? When you spoke with him today, what reasons did he give to you?
Pretty much after lots of thought and internal discussion with his family, that he could stop the transition to an NFL position was one that was a good decision for him and his family, and didn't get into any heavy philosophy, but obviously they thought about it long and hard, and he feels good about it, and we're happy for him.
Back to the interim coaching title, have you been approached by other coaching candidates, and what are you looking for in the next head coach if it's not Doug Martin or anybody else?
Well, the answer is yes. In fact, Jerry Granville, the one that leaves tickets for Elvis, I think it's Granville, isn't it? Glanville, yeah. He sent his, he called and sent his resume. So I know we're on top of the world now, but no, we've got obviously a lot of interest in the job, and I don't think, and I'd be surprised if there was not. But I do think like I said, I know Doug as a coach, but really don't know Doug very much, as a person. I know of Doug's background, but I think this provides for a unique opportunity for me to get to know Doug and to get to know his family from a whole different perspective than just an interview. And so I'm looking forward to working closely with Doug over the next weeks, months to look at him as a candidate, and obviously talk with the president and other appropriate people about the future possibilities.
Coach Martin, along the same lines, would you be interested in a full-time head coaching position here? You've been head coach before Kent State. Just talk about that and the qualifications.
Oh, absolutely. This is not my first rodeo. I've done the head coaching thing for 7 years at Kent State in a similar program. At the time I took Kent State over, the program was almost getting ready to be eliminated. So it was a very tough job. But I would relish the opportunity to be the head coach here for several reasons. First of all, I think this city has unlimited potential. And I really think that the main job a head coach would have here would be to reach out to this community and get the community to take ownership of this program. And the way you do that is for the football players and football coaches to take ownership of this city. We need to get this thing going in one direction. And I came here at the time, my first time around, when I was told that the offense doesn't have a lot of talent, doesn't have this, doesn't have that. And what I found was there's a lot of great pieces in place here already, and we were obviously very successful that year offensively. I would say the same thing about the whole football program. There's a lot of pieces that are already in place here, and it can be a very good football program. I think it does not take much work from here to get it to be a winning football program, and that's what I'd hope to bring here.
Coach, as of now, no conference, no fans. Why do you think this place can be a winner? How do you make it a winner?
Well, the conference thing is going to be in flux, for a while, and nationally. Everybody's going to go through those problems. The opportunity that provides is if you look at our schedule next year, Texas, UCLA, Minnesota, Boston College, I'm very familiar with. You win one of those games, that's great notoriety for your football program. Those are all opportunities to take your football program up a couple of notches. When I was here, we were fortunate enough to beat Minnesota at Minnesota and gave us a big lift. This season coming up is a great opportunity. It's not anything to be afraid of. It's something to embrace, and we're good enough. That's what I want to bring to the people here in Las Cruces and these football players here. I want them to understand we're good enough now. We don't have to wait. And you win and you put a good product out there, people come. And you've got to reach out to people too. They've got to have a reason to want to come and see you. They've got to either have a vested interest in the players, the coaches, or the school, etc. But you've got 100,000 people here that are captive, right? There's no professional sports here. New Mexico State is the show in town. And I promise you, you win football games, people will come to the stands.
Can you talk about recruiting and the current staff right now under Coach Walker? Will that staff remain intact for the moment, and who's been handling the recruiting?
Well, Coach Littlejohn is the recruiting coordinator, obviously working closely with Coach Walker. Coach advised me that we have 24 commitments out of an initial 25. Obviously, Coach Martin's challenge is to make some judgments about those commitments, but as well, I know there was several kids coming in this weekend, but as the interim head coach, that's Coach Martin's job, and obviously he's been a part of the assessment, and Coach has brought him up to speed on that process, and you know, Coach will make a lot of those. Well, he'll make those judgments.
Hey, Dr. Martin, when did you know, or when did Coach Walker ever inform you during the offseason that he wanted to pursue another job? I guess at what point did you find out or learn that this was something he wanted to pursue?
Last week, I got a call from the Jacksonville Jaguars asking for permission to talk to Coach Walker. I called them back and said, yes, you have my permission. And that was somewhere around last Thursday, Friday. So this process was a very quick one, but it's been less than a week.
And then, Coach Martin, not to put you on the spot, but just given the time frame of what's happening here, he calls a week ago saying the Jaguars are interested. Did Coach Walker tell you that this was something he might pursue?
No, not necessarily. A couple of days ago, I had a conversation with DeWayne that he had this opportunity. And, you know, again, all of us in coaching, in any business, you got to do what's best for you and your family. And I think that was a family decision for Coach Walker, and I couldn't be happier for him.
And likewise, I mean, when I was asked to give permission, I did not have to give permission. I could have easily said Coach Walker's on the contract, but no different than I did for Reggie Tias when he was here and wherever I've been. I just think that you hire good quality people, you want them, but you also expect them to grow and have and be quality that other people want. So I don't view what Coach did as a negative at all. I think it was a great opportunity for him and his family, and it gives him a chance to pursue a different level of career options, and very, very hopeful that it works out for him.
Coach, it's Randy in Albuquerque. How would you evaluate how Coach Walker did over the course of his 4 years?
Randy, I've been really happy with a lot of the work that Coach Walker's done, and as most of you know, when Coach Walker was hired, you know, the locker room, the notion of the discipline in the locker room, building a football team, and getting kids to go to class and eliminate social misconduct issues, and you know, he's done all of those things. You know, we've got a pretty good group of young men, and I think Coach has done a great job on that. And as I said 2 years ago, I really thought that we had turned a corner from a competitive standpoint, and that I expected us to be bowl eligible this year. You know, obviously some things happened, and it didn't work out, but at the same time, you know, overall, you know, obviously you get graded on winning and losing in this business, and from that vantage point, you know, 10-40 overall is not a great record, but I would not measure his contributions to this football team in the totality of wins and losses, and you know, we're gonna miss a lot of the things that he brought to the table.
And Coach Martin, just one more for you. You know, as you said, you were coach here a couple years ago. No bowl game in 50+ years. How do you turn it around? What are some of the quick goals you're going to try to do as interim coach to get this thing going?
Well, I think the biggest thing, that's a process. You know, you're not going to do that just by flipping a switch. I think that's convincing the players that every day is game day. You know, when you go to the classroom, when you go to the weight room, when you go to the practice field, every day is game day, and you perform like that, and you know, you set a standard of excellence. That's what we were able to do offensively here when I was here before. There was a standard that was accepted and not accepted, and they knew where that was, and it led to us being a very effective offensive football team. You know, so I think that's all you put in place, and you're very demanding of the players. And, you know, the one thing that I think the players understand about me is that, you know, I love them. You know, I love the players, and I treat them like